Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Stargrinding with Remblob. It's been a while, but I'm back, and I have a quite interesting story to tell today. You might have noticed something right away, and that there's a lot of noise in the recording because I'm currently in a car riding back to college. So yeah, this is gonna be something, if it is something at all, if it is listenable at all. But I'm here to recount an amazing adventure that I partook in with my wonderful friend Carter.
Hello, I'm Carter. I'm driving the car right now, so
Yeah.
my commentary might be kind of, oh, that was a truck,
Yep.
kind of spotty,
Yeah.
because I have to concentrate driving.
Yes. This is true.
This is true.
But yeah, so basically, Carter doesn't think this, but I almost died on
You could say you almost died.
yes.
You could say that.
I can say I was close.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily that there was a chance that I could have. But yeah.
Yeah, if you could sway the definition of a near-death experience, you could probably call it that.
Yeah. So basically, this whole trip was centered around hiking and a quote-unquote training arc for another hike that we want to do.
I mean, it was.
Yeah, it was. It was.
I would say it was the best training arc you could have had.
This is true, but yeah, Carter started playing Celeste in like January.
Yeah,
Like
about
January.
January.
And I would say that he's a fan, and so
Yeah, I would say that too.
we thought it would be a fun idea to, in the summer, actually climb the mountain, the real Celeste Mountain in like Canada, in
Yeah.
Victoria Island,
Vancouver Island.
And
A lot less impressive than the game.
yes,
The mountain, at least on the outside.
yes,
It is 1,000 meters shorter.
this is true. But so, to train for this, we wanted to hike this other mountain in Oregon called Mount Defiance, which was explained to me as like it's a pretty hard hike, but it would be good training, especially as someone who like has never really climbed a real mountain before. Like I've climbed like Diamond Head in Hawaii, but like that doesn't really count. But it turned out to be a 27-hour ordeal.
Yeah.
Where we were stuck basically on the mountain for 27 straight hours. So if we start from the beginning.
Yeah, what is beginning? Where do we start?
I would say that beginning is the Mirror Lake hike, because there's some appropriate things.
I guess so. Yes,
that I would say
there's some foreshadowing.
Yes,
one would say.
One would say.
One would say foreshadowing.
So we went the day before the hike, the big hike. We went to Mount Hood, which is like the Oregon mountain.
Yeah, it's Oregon's tallest mountain.
Yes. And
the mountain.
yeah, and so we went on a little hike by Mount Hood. Is it on Mount Hood, or is it?
You could say it's on Mount Hood. It's like on the base, I guess.
Yeah, but anyways, it was called Mirror Lake because it was a lake that is a mirror.
Yeah, pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, you get like a nice view of the mountain and also reflected on the lake. Unfortunately, we didn't get that view, but yeah, because it was very, very snowy the entire way, like up Mount Hood. So we went on the hike. It was pretty good, I would say. It did tire me out because it is pretty uphill all the way through.
Somewhat, yeah. There's some uphill, and snow has.
Yeah, and hiking on snow is like really.
It's more effort.
Yeah, it's more effort, and you can like slip and fall and everything. But yeah, it was a good hike, and I remember specifically thinking that, you know, it did tire me out because it was pretty steep, and Mount Defiance is a lot steeper of a hike. But I thought, you know what, at least it won't have snow.
Oh, foreshadowing.
Yes, very much foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing.
So, Mount Defiance was explained to me as, like I said, like a pretty steep hike. You go up like 200 feet in like 7 miles, right?
200 feet? I think you're kind of 5,000 feet.
Or, yeah,
5,200. Yeah, 5,200.
Yeah.
It's about 5,000, yeah.
5,000, yeah. So it's a lot steeper. And I definitely felt that in the beginning.
Yes. The first half, you would say? It was about the first half.
Yeah, the first half. Because it was a lot of, like, there's a lot of, like, switching back up the mountain. Like, you couldn't just go straight up. You had to go, like, left and right, gradually up.
Switchbacks.
Yeah. And, yeah, it was pretty steep. Like, there weren't any parts where I would say that I was climbing, but I definitely had to take some, like, big steps at points and really traverse some steep terrain. But it was basically all fine. We saw some cool waterfalls at the beginning, and overall it was pretty enjoyable, even though it was hard. And like, I remember we took our first break like an hour and a half in, and we were already up like 1.5 miles or so.
Yeah.
Like 2 miles, so we were on pretty good pace.
Pretty decent pace. You know.
Yeah.
And that would have continued.
It would have continued.
If it weren't for the implication.
Yes. And we were on pace to reach the summit in like 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
And get all the way back down by like 7 or 8. So I was feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
By the time that we got to our first break. And then we went up what was explained to me in the second quarter as like the steepest section. And looking back, like going back down, I actually think that it really was.
Mm-hmm.
It was just
most definitely was.
The thing is that it was also explained to me that it was the hardest section.
Well,
but we'll get to that later.
We make mistakes in the heat of passion, you know.
Yeah, so we got to halfway around like 2.5 hours, like halfway up.
Yeah.
And to like a ridge, and we had lunch, and was kind of funny is that we were on a ridge around halfway through the game, or
through
the hike, maybe 4 out of 7 of the miles out.
4 out of 7, yeah, okay.
And it also was quite windy. So we made the obvious comparison of Golden Ridge and Celeste. But then after we hiked to the end of the ridge, when it started to go up again, because the ridge was pretty flat, and we started to go up again, and we saw some snow.
We saw some snow. I would say this is our, in the series of mistakes that we have made, this is our first mistake.
Yes.
Right here is when we were like, there's snow. Let's keep on going.
Yeah, so
let's keep on going. Let's go. Even though there were so many signs about, we could have easily figured out what we were gonna run into.
Yes.
But we didn't. So.
Yeah. And
there was so much foreshadowing. There was writing on the wall. We were just looking down.
And I remember specifically asking if we needed snowshoes or anything. And
yeah, I know. I messed up big time.
And
I do admit I made a massive blunder with this one.
And yeah, I had a hiking pole too, which specifically has an attachment for snow
we didn't bring.
That we did not bring. So
massive mistake.
Yeah.
Out of a series of mistakes. That was several mistakes that we've already mentioned, but there is more to come.
There is a lot more to come.
There is more to come.
So we continue anyway. We hike up
Big mistake.
We hike up a section that was a little snowy. It was mostly fine until we started going up pretty steep again, and that's when I started kind of hating the hike a little bit, because it wasn't very steep, but it was a good incline, and there's a bunch of trees everywhere. And something to note about trees in the snow is that there are these things called tree wells, where the roots or something, or just the tree in general is warmer.
Yeah, since the tree is living, it kind of emits some heat, so it melts the snow around it, and so it kind of creates a little well. And most of the time, if there's a root or something, it doesn't melt all the way to the top, so it kind of functions as a sinkhole. So if you step in, you kind of fall, your foot kind of sinks really far deep.
Yes, there were a lot of points where I stepped into what I thought would just sink down a foot, and it's went all the way down to my waist. So that's kind of another sign.
Yeah, that was another big sign where we're the snow just keeps on getting deeper.
Yes. And we just kind of ignored that.
Yeah. We also ignored the part where we were taking an hour to go a mile.
Yes.
Or less than an hour to go a mile.
Yes.
On average. Which kind of more writing on the wall, really. This wall was painted red.
Yeah.
And we're looking at it and I'm like, that looks pretty green to me. Terrible mistake.
Yeah, I fell so much, and I had to take breaks a lot.
Yeah.
Because it was very tiring to hike in snow. And just, even if it's not super deep, having your foot even sink in every single step
is the resistance.
Yeah. it is pretty bad. I will say that, like, even though my hiking, like, pole wasn't optimized, as you could say, it did really help for me not falling a lot. Because it's just like the extra leg is really helpful. But yeah, so that was like the first like hell section of the hike, at least for me.
Yeah.
And I did think about just asking you to turn back like multiple times, which I didn't.
Yeah, you didn't.
Which is another blunder.
Probably another blunder. I probably would have listened. Maybe.
Yeah.
At that point in time, if that was mentioned, because I'm like, it might have gotten me thinking. It might have gotten me thinking.
But like, another thing was that when we were at that section, you said like there was only like 2 to 3 miles left in the hike.
Yeah, because I was.
Which is true.
Which was true.
But it was kind of like a false. It gave me false hope that we would finish soon, and that I would.
We completely underestimated snow and its ability to hinder our progress.
Yes, and so in spite of it, me when I accidentally activate Siri in the middle of the recording, but anyways, so in spite of everything, we continued.
Yeah,
and
despite the signs, the clear signs.
We
should turn back.
We got to this point where the snow started being a lot deeper, and also the trees started to thin out a little bit. So we got like a really nice view of like the what is it? The Columbia River.
The Columbia River Gorge.
The Columbia River Gorge.
Yeah, and the river, yeah.
And like the other surrounding mountains and stuff. And
it was quite cool. We were able to see like the clouds and the rain in the distance.
Yes. And
yeah, we probably should have turned back then.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was probably the latest. That was probably the latest point we could have turned back.
Yes. Probably. But
we started to keep on going.
I also like got a high off that view. Yeah,
it was like oh yeah, that was great. We should keep on going and see more views. Like you kind of got some more energy.
Yeah,
some more hope.
Yeah, because I definitely remember like
that was literally me too. I'm like, wow, this is cool. Let's keep on going.
Yeah, because the
terrible mistake.
The snow section with all the trees and stuff was really tiring, but after that and after seeing the view, I started to like kind of have fun again with the hike. So yeah, that was not the right decision.
That was nope.
So we went further, and the hike did get harder, but I also didn't mind because I was still like psyched for that view.
Psyched.
And so we started what I thought was the final stretch.
Well, I mean, it was on paper.
it was on paper.
The map was deceiving.
Yes.
The map was deceiving because, yeah, I had the map and I was looking at it. I'm like, yeah, we got like a mile, maybe 2 of like actually like the trail.
Yeah.
But the thing about snow is that when it snows, the trail's completely covered, and most of the time you can't really walk on the trail. So the snow's kind of steep, and so you have to do switchbacks.
Yes.
And you have to do a little bit of bushwhacking to get back onto the trail. So we did a lot of that.
Yes, which took a long time. And one of the Well, one of the things that did keep me going was that for the last like half mile of the trail, there was like a road that was like a service road for like,
for the,
I don't know what you would use it for, but
well, it was for them.
I mean, there is like a building on top.
Yeah, there's a building with like a radio tower or something at the top, so it was probably so they could drive up there.
Yeah, but that was also keeping me going because in my head I was like, oh, a road, that's easy. We could, once we get there, it'll be like really,
I thought that too.
Really easy.
Massive mistake.
But then, yeah, we hiked up and it was very tiring, and the view went away for a little bit as well.
Yeah, because we went back into trees.
We went back into trees, and that's when I started to not like it again, because it was harder than the last section, for sure. But yeah, the hope of the road kept me going. And then the first time when I thought that we might have made a mistake was that, like, for most of the hike I was pretty behind you.
Yeah, but
and you like shouted to me, "Oh, the road's here," and then I walk up to you, and it's still just all covered in snow.
All covered in snow.
It's all covered in snow.
I'm like, oh no!
Yeah.
I saw that. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Well, for the longest time, I misread the map, so I thought like the road was just like gone, like we missed it. But then we finally hit the road, and it was covered in snow. I'm like, oh god, I should have expected this.
Yeah.
Since it's in the winter, they would probably not use the road.
Yeah.
Massive blunder again.
Another one.
And then we did another blunder. Well, yeah, I guess you would. I don't know if the outcome would have changed if we made the other decision, because I proposed the decision of we should continue pushing, because sunset was going to happen in like 20 minutes, and we were literally like a quarter of the mile to the top, and it was only the road. The road did make the hike easier.
Yes,
we knew
it did.
exactly where to go and we didn't fall into tree wells, and it wasn't like super steep. There was a steep part, but it wasn't extremely steep.
Yes.
So yeah, we either did that. I proposed we either do that or we turn back. And at that point, it was the sunk cost fallacy. It was really the sunk cost fallacy for basically all the time we were in the snow. We're like, we made it this far. We got to keep on going.
Yeah.
Terrible mistake. When you're hiking, you should never have that. I don't know why I thought that was good. It's probably because I have like almost no experience hiking in the snow, so that's probably why I've made these many blunders.
Yeah, but so
now I have experience.
Yes, you do.
Yep. I've experienced in the snow, but not experienced hiking in the snow.
Yeah,
completely different things.
Yes.
So yeah, we decided to keep on going. I'm not sure if that was a mistake or not. Of course it didn't help.
Definitely.
And so we hiked up to the top, and the view was good.
The view was good, but it also was not as good as the other one.
It was not as good as the other one
because there were more trees, and it was also darker because it was sunset.
Yeah, the sun already set.
Or it was twilight at that point.
It was twilight. And then, then we were like,
how the hell
mistake.
Are we going to get down?
Yeah, I had a flashlight, which, was also a big factor in me even making this decision, because I'm like, oh, we have a flashlight, hike in the dark. Yeah, easy.
It was not easy.
It was not easy.
So we did chill there for a little bit, but we had to go.
We had to go
because it was getting dark.
It was basically already dark at that point. There was still a little bit of light because we were still in twilight, but that light was going to go fast, so we were like, okay, we're out of here. And so
we turned back. We started down the road again.
Yeah, and we decided to take it was a loop, so we decided to take the second half of the loop, which I'm not sure if that was a mistake or not.
Yes.
Because yes, we don't know where we're going, but going back on the way we would have came probably would have been bad too.
Yes.
Because we did a lot of bushwhacking trying to find the road, and that part would have been terrible to do.
Yes.
I think everything else we probably would have been able to do, because once we passed that section, there's a lot of tracks and stuff, and we had navigation, so we could have probably done that. But that part was the part I was most worried about, was that initial part past the road. But the B route had us take the road for a good portion of the hike. So
yes.
then navigation, it would be way easier to do.
Yes.
Which it kind of was when we did it.
Yeah, because the way the road worked is that even though it was only like the last quarter mile of the hike up, it was a good like mile and a half down.
Yeah. It was a good portion.
It was a good portion down. And like the road is really easy to navigate. So we decided to do that. But at this point, I'm exhausted.
You are exhausted, yeah. And I was doing all right at that time.
Yeah.
I still had some left in me to keep on going.
Yes.
So I was doing okay, but yeah, you were out of it.
Yes.
And it was it was bad.
It was
bad.
Like 8 straight hours of, not straight, but like 8 hours of hiking.
Yeah, at that point it took us 8 hours to get to the top.
Yes.
And so yeah, it was probably about 8.5 hours at that point.
Yeah. So I'm exhausted, and this is where I start to get a little worried, because it's getting dark, and we have a flashlight and navigation, but it's still like the dark.
Yeah.
But so we start heading down. We have realized that we have made a huge mistake at this point.
Yeah.
And of course,
textbook,
it starts snowing.
Yes.
And raining when we start down.
We saw the clouds when we were on the top, and I saw those clouds. I'm like, oh no, no, those are rain clouds. You can obviously tell that they are, and they're coming towards us.
Yes.
This is terrible.
So we
saw the writing on the wall way too late.
Yes. So we are hiking down in the snow. The thing is, on the bright side, if there is a bright side, it didn't snow too hard. Yes.
It was very light snow.
It was light.
The rain clouds looked way more intimidating than they actually were. It was probably because I would say they were already on the mountain, so they dumped probably most of the rain before they hit us.
Yes, for sure. But it was still
snowing, and we were inching on that. Even since it was a road and all, but we were still going at a pretty slow pace.
Yes.
It was faster than we were doing, probably going up, but it was still a really slow pace. We didn't have any tracks to follow.
Yeah.
So we were making our own tracks.
Yes.
And also we had to stop pretty frequently and turn on the flashlight to make sure we were even going down the right part of the road. The first road, it was good. We didn't really have to do it that much on the first road, but we had to kind of go off the first road into a second road, and that road was a lot more narrower, and in the dark it was sometimes hard to tell where it was going, because sometimes the space in the trees was just enough to like throw us off.
Yeah.
Because yeah, again, it was all snow, and you really couldn't tell where the road was at all.
Yeah.
We had to pull out the phone for navigation a lot of the time.
We did, and I will say, like, even though it was like horrible, it was kind of fun to navigate the dark.
Navigating in the dark is really fun.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
Because it kind of feels like you're cool.
Yeah, it's cool. You're like navigating in the dark. It's like wow.
Yeah, we're looking at the map, and then we're shining the flashlight, and like, okay, we go this way, and it was kind of fun, but I was still very tired. We had to take breaks in the dark on snow while it was snowing, and like I had to like eat because I was hungry, which also makes us cold if we're just like standing or sitting around in the dark. So yeah, that was also a thing that we had to do. Luckily, I don't know if you actually weren't hungry or if you're just like, if your brain is just like, I don't know, like crazy or something. But you did not eat like at all past lunch.
I didn't eat at all. Oh, I had a Cliff Bar past lunch.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
That was all I ate for, the next, what was it at that point? 16 hours?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't eat at all. I just wasn't hungry.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of get this when I'm hiking. It's just like, I don't eat that much, which is like good or bad sign. I don't know. I've gotten this far.
Yeah.
It's probably because I have hiked so much that like my body's probably just kind of used to it at this point.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I don't know if you had noticed, but I never sat down during our breaks. I did not want to sit down.
Yeah.
I knew that if I sit down, my legs would probably get more like tired or something, and also I just didn't want my butt to be wet.
That's true.
That sounded miserable. So I just stood the entire time.
Yeah. And so we were navigating the road for a little while, and we were still like a long way up the mountain, like once the road ended.
Yeah.
Because the way we saw the map, the road was like 1.5 miles, and then we had to like navigate off-road and off-trail a little bit and find the trail again.
Yeah.
So that we could maybe find some tracks and start heading down the actual trail again. And we did find some tracks.
We did find tracks.
Which was helpful.
There was one singular person.
Yes.
That was in snowshoes that we might have passed.
Yes.
On our way up, possibly. And yeah, that was very helpful.
Yes, it was very helpful in navigating because we didn't have to use the map anymore. And our phones were both low too.
Yeah, our phones at this point were probably both at
like 25%.
Yeah, probably, maybe 30%.
Yeah.
Each.
So we wanted to save as much battery as possible, so that was really helpful. But then we started kind of getting lost a little bit.
Somewhat. We lost the tracks at some point in time.
Yeah, we lost the tracks.
And it was at a crucial point.
Yes. Because where we lost the tracks, it started to be like a very steep slope down.
Very steep, and we had to
with a lot of trees in the way.
Yeah, we had to go diagonal too.
Yeah.
Which is probably the worst way to do it. If you were going down, it does seem more dangerous going down, but like if you plant your feet in, it could be safer than doing that. Because diagonally, if you fall, it's over. Unless like like how, unless you know how to fall, I guess. Because hiking in snow, you want to fall on your belly, so that you have the most friction and you can stop faster.
Yeah.
But hiking diagonally, it's kind of really hard to do that. You kind of have to be hiking at a very steep angle so you can fall backwards and not forwards. If you fall forwards, it's over.
Yeah. And so we were hiking down a very steep hill. This is the first point where I thought that maybe there was a chance that we could die.
Maybe, yeah. Falling, yes.
Yes, if we were to fall and like hit trees on the way down, it would be very bad for us.
It'd be terrible.
And so we hiked down the slope a little bit, but then at this point I was just
we hiked down a majority of the slope.
We actually did. Now that I'm thinking about it, but I was very, very tired.
You were out of it,
and the slope was just so steep, and it was really scary for me.
Yeah,
and especially in the dark too. And so I was just like, I am too tired to go on. I can't do this anymore. And so we decided to stop. And made the first like huge decision, I would say, which was either like take a break and then keep going, or call for help.
Yes.
And I decided that we should call for help.
Yeah.
Even though
you had to convince me a little bit.
Yeah, you did. I did have to convince you a little bit.
Yeah, it's because I was still...
Yeah,
I still had it in me. I still had it in me, and yes, if I was probably by myself, I might have been able to do it.
Yeah.
But
I decided that for the first time in my 19 years of living on Earth, I would call 911.
Yeah.
And it did. You were really reluctant because it would be expensive to call 911, at least for like.
I saw it was gonna be probably expensive.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking, I'm like, well, we don't really have a choice.
Yeah, we don't.
This is literally the only choice we have at this point.
So I call 911. They pick up, and I say, "Hey, we're stuck on the Mount Defiance trail, and we need help." And I gave her like information and like my name and all that stuff, and you actually came in clutch with like the mention of give her our coordinates.
Yeah.
Because I did not realize that the app we were using, or what was it? All Trails that give.
No, All Trails did not give coordinates.
Oh, it didn't.
I had to open Google Maps for that.
Oh, okay.
But I'm like, we have to give them coordinates, because what else are they going to do? Because they would have to scan 14 miles of trail to find us. And that would have taken them so long.
Yes.
So giving them our coordinates would be absolutely essential. Usually they ask you for that. They ask you where you are.
Yeah, they did actually ask me after you mentioned that we should do it. But so I gave her the coordinates, and they told me to just stay put and that they would send someone for help eventually. And so I
never asked, like, did you picked up the phone, and it was probably the 911 like operator. Did they transfer it to someone else?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought, because they probably had to have, because that was outside.
Because like the Washington State like 911 picked up or something. Yeah. It was like something in Washington, so they transferred me to the Hood River County, which is where Mount Defiance is. And so, yeah, I hung up with them and I started to text them and to not waste battery, because like our phones at this point are like 20%. So
yeah, my phone, I put my phone on airplane mode at this point.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, there's I don't want to drain it.
Yeah. And so I gave her our coordinates over text as well, and we also like talked about this, like getting a search and rescue team to find us. And what the second point where I thought we might die is when they told me. So at this point it's 2 in the morning.
Yeah, 2:30.
It's 2:30 in the morning, and they said that they needed to wait until sunrise to send somebody over.
Yeah, so 5 hours. Sunrise.
5 hours.
Sunrise was around 7:20.
Yes.
7:20.
And plus, like,
plus several hours for them to actually find us. To get to us.
Yes. So that would mean we were stranded in the cold on snow for about 8 hours.
Yeah.
We were stranded in the snow.
Massive blunder here.
Yeah, but not our fault.
Yes, but there is one blunder that I had, is I forgot the first aid kit. Well, I forgot my first aid kit. There was one in the bag, but I forgot my specific one, and that one had a space blanket in it. So,
yeah.
I didn't mention that because I wasn't sure if it actually had a space blanket in it until I checked, like after we came back, and I'm like, oh my god, it did.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So one of us could have had one.
Yes.
But yeah.
Another blunder.
Massive blunder.
But they actually kind of blundered too.
Yes, they did.
Retrospect.
In retrospect, I guess we can talk about that a little bit later.
Yes, I guess that's true. But so I get off the text conversation, and I was also like pretty separate from you.
Yeah, I couldn't see you. I never asked if you could see me.
Yeah, I couldn't see you either. At least
couldn't?
At night. Yeah, I couldn't.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, because you were right behind me. We were close enough to talk.
Yes.
But we didn't really talk that much.
Yes.
Talking takes up a lot of energy.
Yes.
So
we were just silently waiting.
Yeah, I was really worried because I'm like, don't die on me, Remy.
Yeah.
Don't die.
Yeah.
Don't die on me, Remy, please.
Because.
I was like, that was part of the reason why, like, a lot of the time I was like making noises. I don't know if you ever heard those.
Yeah, you were.
Okay, because like part of the reason for that is to make sure that you know I'm still alive. I'm still there.
Yeah.
And I'm still chilling. So.
Okay. Yeah, I did notice that you were fidgeting a lot, or and moving around.
Yeah, I was moving. Well, that was another thing. Yeah, I had times I was shivering pretty intensely a ton, but yeah, there was times where I did actually move, and that was because where I was sitting next to a tree, next to a fallen tree, and it had a branch that was on my shoulder, so it kind of prevented me from going from falling, which was really helpful. And but also I was sitting on kind of an incline, and only half of my butt was actually on snow, and so I noticed as time progressed I was sliding very slightly off of where I was sitting. So every now and then I had to adjust to go back to where I was initially sitting. So that happened every 30 minutes to an hour, I had to do that. I didn't really have to do that for the first few hours, but it became more common as it kept on going.
Yeah.
And there was one time where I was like, I tried to get something from my backpack.
Yeah.
That was when you like talked to me and you're like, what are you doing?
Yeah. And yeah, so we would have. I thought about the prospect of sitting in the dark, in the cold, with like I only had like my puffy jacket, and a t-shirt, which I was wearing underneath, like joggers, and just like socks and.
Yeah, we literally had like the same setup in terms of clothes, which was somewhat reassuring to me because then I'm like, okay, if I'm warm, he's probably warm. Like, my situation is probably similar.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. But. Yeah,
I just didn't want you to fall asleep.
Yeah.
That would have been bad.
Because thinking about having to wait that long, I was very concerned about potentially getting hypothermia, which at the time I didn't know if you were just like telling like a kind of half truth to like cheer me up or not, but you said like there's not really a chance that I would get it.
Yeah, it's like if you know what you're doing, it's pretty like you can delay it for a long time, which we knew what we were doing.
Yes.
So because we did the jacket thing, we like breathed inside our jacket.
Yes.
We're in a ball, so like that substantially, and there was also very little wind.
That's true.
Because we were on a ridge, which helped us in that regard. There was very little wind, so a lot of the heat was staying with us. And if you look at it on paper, we were experiencing hypothermia, but we were experiencing the mildest form because the first form is shivering.
No.
That's literally just what it is. Shivering in like maybe like somewhat impaired consciousness. I don't know if we were experiencing that really. We were pretty conscious.
Yeah.
We were pretty with it, but maybe a little bit.
I was pretty like sleepy.
Maybe a little bit.
But yeah.
But
mostly conscious.
It's not really a problem. The first stage isn't really a problem because literally the cure to it is just to get warm, really.
Yeah.
So that's not the problem. It's when you get to stage 2 is when you stop shivering, and that's when it's serious.
Yeah, and I never really stopped shivering, which was a good thing. But I did kind of doze off like for a lot of like 5-minute like intervals.
Yeah, I probably did that too. I had my eyes closed the entire time, so I probably did that.
Yeah,
but it was just too cold for us to stay.
Yeah,
and we were in such a like uncomfortable position.
Yes.
That sleeping was just not an option.
Yes,
which was good in like our case.
Yeah, it was.
Because if you fall asleep, then you kind of lose a lot of your like heat in a way.
Yes.
You're not consciously trying to keep yourself alive.
Yes. But yeah, it would not be an exaggeration at all to say that those like 8 hours are like the worst point in my life, like ever.
Yeah, I don't know.
At least physically.
Yeah, I don't know if that was the worst point in my life, but I could definitely add that to the list of near-death experiences.
Yes. That's
definitely on the list.
Yeah, I was so cold, and I don't know if you could hear me or not, but like I was like chattering and like breathing like pretty loud, and like
there was a couple times where I did hear you breathing.
Oh yeah, because it was really bad. I could not stop shivering.
I was shivering a lot.
Yes.
I was shivering a lot.
Which is good, but it's just like really annoying.
Yeah.
And it's especially when you like can't control it at all.
It just happens.
It just happens. But yeah, what was kind of funny a little bit was not in the moment, but in retrospect, was like when I did doze off, I kind of had like visions of like being saved and stuff. And just to wake up and be cold and shivering again.
I did not have that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't have that.
Yeah, I had that like a lot.
Oh wow. Yeah, I was just sitting there. I don't even remember what I was thinking about. I think I was just. Yeah, I don't remember what I was thinking about.
Yeah,
but I think it was just mostly breathing.
Yeah, it was just mostly breathing. I don't really remember that much either. Like,
yeah, because we're kind of in a state of being like extremely sleepy. So.
Yeah, and like remembering like very long moments of extreme like boredom is like very hard for your brain to do.
Yeah, because not much goes on.
Yeah. But sunrise comes and
your phone dies.
Yeah.
Right around that time.
Right around that time.
And so I had to use mine.
And so yeah, because at sunrise the deputy sheriff at the state park that we were in like texted me because like the 911 number transferred me over.
Yeah.
And so they asked me like if we were on the trail or not, and like how our health, how our conditions were and everything. And I answered like we were like a little off the trail.
Yeah.
And that we were fine but very, very cold. And as soon as I responded to that message, my phone dies. Just like that. And I was like, Carter? what percent is your phone at?
Yeah, my phone was like 50%. I answered with like 20 because like when I last saw it, which was hours ago, it was on airplane mode and it was like 23%. Yeah. I'm like, okay, it probably would have lost like 3 or something percent. It lost like 9. And yeah, it was like 16, 15%.
And so I had you contact the sheriff instead.
So yeah, I contacted 911 because I didn't know his number and all that. And then they directed me to the sheriff, which then he's like, okay, cool, we got a team like coming to you.
Yeah.
And yeah, all he said was soon. And
yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, he said soon. And I'm like, okay. So yeah, in my head I'm like, okay, if they left immediately, it would take them probably 2 to 3 hours to get to us.
Yes. And
you did ask me to ask them, which I did, and then he said, and that was like an hour later.
Yeah.
And then I asked him, and he said, oh, about an hour. And
yeah.
This is 9 o'clock.
This is 9 o'clock.
This is 9 o'clock.
So yeah, we've been on.
This is 9 o'clock.
We've been in the same position for 7 hours at this point.
Yes.
And so I was like, okay.
One more hour. That was like one of the biggest things I was like saying. I'm like, okay, I've survived 5 hours. Like 3 more hours, I could probably do that.
Yeah.
I could probably do that.
Yeah, I was like, okay, 1 more hour. We're almost there. And then we get to 10 o'clock, which is an hour later, and there's still no sign of them.
There's still no sign.
Which I guess I should have expected, but also I was
expected that. I'm like, yeah, they're probably gonna take 20 more minutes.
Yeah, but like, I should have probably expected that, but I was just not in the right mental state to hear that they were not coming yet, and so that was the third time that I thought that maybe we would have to like go down the mountain ourselves somehow.
No, terrible idea.
Yeah.
Terrible idea. If they know where we are, we do not move.
Yes.
We do not move.
Yes. Because
once we placed in that 911 call, we could not move.
Yes.
Except actually when they got my number and the team actually was sent, they did send me a text message that brought me to like a website where they tracked my location.
Oh.
If I had it open, it would track my GPS.
Yeah.
So we could have moved up until that point.
Yeah.
Up until like 3 hours when they actually started hiking.
Yes. But yeah, I just started getting paranoid, like, I don't know, running through scenarios. But then, like, at like 10:30 or so, I hear our names being called, and we have a brief like back and forth where they're trying to find our location.
Yeah, they're yelling at us.
Yeah.
We're yelling back.
Yeah, and then we finally see them. We finally make like eye contact, and we like wave at each other. And then I like almost cried at that point, dude. I was so happy.
You were so happy.
Cause like I should have probably like known that they were gonna come, but like I was just like, what if, you know, like doubts. what if they never show up? And so yeah, we finally get found, and they get up to us, and they immediately were very helpful. Because they provided like new blanket and like a warm blanket and new jackets and new socks and a bunch of like snacks to like get us prepared for the journey down. Because like we still have to hike the rest of the way down.
Yeah, because there's no way they're bringing us down in like stretchers or something.
Yeah.
Like there's no way. We have to hike down.
We have to hike the way down. And so
luckily we were in
good shape.
Very good shape.
At least like, yeah. But so we get some food in us, and we wait for another team to like show up. I was actually surprised at the number of people that showed up for us.
Yeah,
there's like 8 people.
It's like procedure, that you should have at least 2 people per like person you're saving.
Yeah.
Because a one-on-one is terrible.
Yeah, for sure.
Then they had a backup team, which is always good.
Yes.
So, because then the backup team, if anything, like, because they have no idea what state we're in when they show up to find us.
Yes.
And so the backup team would be good if like we were literally unconscious.
Yeah.
They would need even more people to be able to like safely get us down.
Yes. And so there was like 3 teams though that came for us.
Yeah, there were 3 teams.
And so we put on all the warm stuff. We got warmer. We were still very cold. Well, I don't know about you, but I was still like shivering a lot.
You were probably colder than me. I was shivering, but the only thing that was super cold to me was my feet.
Yeah.
My feet were pretty numb, But once we started the hiking, they weren't really that much numb anymore. They were still numb, but it was like it was fine for me to like walk.
Yeah, but so we get up, we start hiking down, and when we were hiking down the like slope in the day, like when we were hiking down, I was like, yeah, there's no way we could have done that at night. I don't know about you, but
yeah, I was hiking down and I'm like, this is really steep.
Yeah.
If we did it, we would have had to use the flashlight basically the entire time.
Yes, for sure.
And so if the flashlight didn't have that much in it, then we would be screwed.
Yes.
But if it did, maybe.
Because yeah, I was talking to the guys that were helping me down. I was like, is this the actual trail? Because this is like really hard. And they're like, yeah, this is like a hard mountain. They said like people climb Mount Hood to train for Mount Defiance. So yeah, that was insane. They were really helpful. Like once they showed up, I knew I was good, basically. But it was still like a really hard hike down, at least in the super snowy part. But yeah, eventually we got back down to like not safe, but like real ground with no snow anymore.
Yeah.
And like, but then it started raining,
and
like really hard, and it was windy. So even though like we were out of the snow, we were out of like the super hard and strenuous part, we were still hiking downhill on like the steepest part of the hike.
Yep.
In the rain and wind.
Yeah.
So we did not get a break until like the very end.
Yeah.
Even with like everyone helping us. Like I even had one of the people like carried my bag for me, and also like tied like a bungee kind of cord around my waist.
Yeah, to help your knees.
Yeah, so that to put like less stress on my knees, and so that if I fell, it wouldn't be super terrible. Because there was definitely a real chance that I could have, like, if it was pretty steep the way down.
Yeah.
I had to like really think about what to do with my feet and the hiking pole to get down safely. But we got down to most of that, and we got to a point where we could see the highway again, which was really nice. But that was also like really annoying because it was like super windy and rainy, and so like a lot of it was going in my eyes, so like couldn't really see where I was going.
Yeah.
Even though it wasn't too steep, it was still kind of scary for me to hike that without being able to really see. But like the people were really helping us, were really helpful, and I don't know if you knew, but I actually had the wonderful experience of shitting in the wilderness.
Oh, that's why it took you guys so long. I was like, why is it taking them so long?
Yeah. Because I did notice that you were stopped for me. So, but yeah, I had to.
What a wonderful experience.
I had literally all like outdoor like experiences on this hike.
Yeah, I would say the concluding thoughts are absolutely terrible hike, but the absolute best training hike you could have ever had.
Yes. And so we basically just hiked the rest of the way down. We finally got to the road, and we walked back to the car, and I also didn't expect this, even though I should have probably. There was like an ambulance and like a tent with like a bunch of people.
Yeah, I don't
like the sheriff.
Yeah, I don't know if your people were doing it, but I was with like the main like dudes.
Yeah.
And they were talking on the walkie-talkie, and they were like, "Yeah, this is a negative on transport." Like they were talking about like ambulance. Because we were like fully functional. Literally nothing was terribly wrong about us.
Yeah. So we had to just like sit down and sign some stuff about not needing an ambulance.
And he gave the sheriff our stuff.
Yeah, gave the sheriff our.
Yeah, so he probably could have put it on like the database or whatever.
Yeah. And
we went on our merry way.
Yeah, we went on our merry way. So yeah, we were on the mountain for a total of 27 hours.
Yep.
So, like
14 miles in 27 hours.
Yeah.
A little under a half a mile per hour on average.
Yeah.
Do the math.
This is true. Absolutely, like, terrible day.
Terrible.
But at least we made someone's birthday interesting.
Yeah, one of their birthdays.
It was one of the.
I guess we didn't mention the blunder that they had on their part was that I don't know if this was the 911 operator's fault, or no, it might have been the sheriff.
Yeah,
probably
I think it was the sheriff.
Is that they did not they should have sent a team immediately. They did not need to wait for sunset or sunrise.
Yeah.
Because the team was literally all volunteers, and I was talking with them about it, and they were like, "Yeah, that shouldn't have happened."
Yeah.
That shouldn't have happened. They should have sent a team immediately.
Yeah.
Knowing the conditions.
We could have gone like 5 hours less of waiting time.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was their one blunder.
Their one blunder was that.
But yeah, one of the search and rescue people, it was their birthday that day, and they said they didn't have anything planned.
Yeah.
So we made it a lot more interesting for them. But
yeah, one of the dudes, he was like the youngest dude on the team, and he was the dude that first found us.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, I probably could have done that in like 45 minutes, like hiking up to us.
Oh.
But the other dude he was with, like the older guy, he's like, yeah, like there's no way. Yeah, like with me, there's no way you could have done that.
Yeah.
Because of course they have to stay in pairs.
They have to stay together for sure.
They have to stay in pairs. The good old buddy system.
Yes. But yeah, worst day of my life. But also like looking back, I'm not glad that happened to me. But
there were some good parts.
It was overall like a good experience to have happen.
Yes. You got everything.
I have a great story.
You have a great story, and you have experience in literally every single aspect of hiking except the camping part.
Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, because like, have you ever had to like write an essay about like a personal experience that you've had for like a scholarship or like a college application or something? Yeah, I always had trouble with that because I'm like, my life is fucking boring. Like, what the hell do I write? I'm 19 fucking years old. Like, what am I gonna write? Now I have something to write about.
Now you have something to write
about. It's so easy now.
I just have another thing. Like,
Yeah.
I had some previous things, but now I have another solid thing to write about.
Yeah.
Adding this to my near-death experience list.
Yeah.
I don't know if this was the worst day of my life, but it's definitely up there.
Yeah.
It could be argued to be.
It could be argued.
It could be argued, but I'm not sure. I would have to think more about it.
Yeah, and
I'd say probably. I don't know.
Yeah, and another thing was that like we have like a Discord server with like all of our friends and stuff, and at like midnight I messaged in the Discord saying that
you made them worry way too much.
Yeah,
you did it. You made them worry way too much.
Yeah,
I was looking at that, I'm like, okay, there's a little bit of like, I don't know if I want to say overreaction, but like, what could they have done? So
yeah,
we basically did everything that like needed to be done.
Yes.
So it was kind of unnecessary worrying on their part.
Yes. But like, I'm glad that they showed concern for us.
Yes.
But, and I think that like, in the case that our phones both do die and we can't call anyone, that them like contacting the park service would have actually like,
yeah, would have worked if we
worked.
if our phones did die before we were able to do it.
Yeah, but
that 911 call was enough because that was our coordinates right there. So
yeah, so we caused a little bit of a panic, but as soon as we were in the car, I told everyone that we were okay. And yeah, we drove back to your house, and your mom's face when you told her that, yeah, we just got on the mountain 2 hours ago. That was so funny. That was so funny. And it was also really funny to see like the difference in reaction between your mom and your dad.
Oh yeah, my dad doesn't care. He's like, okay, you're fine. Like,
yeah,
you're good. Yeah, he literally told me like, oh, you got a good learning experience.
Yeah, yeah. Your mom was like, bro, you could have died. And your dad was like, you could have died.
That's so funny.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess that's everything. That's the most insane day of my life.
You have such a great story to tell.
Such a great story. I'm sure I will enjoy telling it to everyone in person when everyone gets back from spring break.
Yeah, you're probably gonna tell it to people
I'm
when
probably
you get back.
Over and over, but it's a great story. I don't really care.
It's an incredible story,
it's
really.
It's a great story.
Of how badly we messed up.
Yes.
Hopefully that won't happen again.
Yeah.
I think we've learned our lesson.
Yes.
Perhaps.
For sure.
Perhaps.
Yeah. To be honest, I don't know if I want to do Celeste in the summer. At least not like this summer. Because, yeah, that will be like pretty different, and also has a chance of being what happened that day on Mount Defiance.
Oh yeah, it would be most definitely a chance.
Yeah. So I'm gonna reconsider.
We're gonna have to think more about that one.
Yes. But
summer might just be Training Arc Part 2.
Yes. Maybe.
We're gonna have to think more about that.
And I guess that's pretty much everything. That's the story of how I almost died, and the craziest day of my life.
The craziest day.
And I guess I hope that this recording is actually listenable enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hope that you enjoyed us retelling the story, and I hope that you have a wonderful morning, afternoon, and evening. I've been Remblob with my good friend Carter, and I'll see you in the next one.